Welcome to this investment forum. Madame Fontanet, would you shortly describe what the financial sector looks like in Geneva?
So we have a very large financial sector with a unique ecosystem, of course, due to the density and the leading players that we have the chance to have in the canton, and also the numerous expertise that we have here. We have around 3,200 companies, among the most dynamic financial sector in the world. And these companies, they occur more than 35,000 jobs in the canton, which is around approximately 13% of the gross domestic product. So as you can see, a very important sector.
It's very consistent, but
yes.
Within this sector, what share would you say is what role plays sustainable finance, economically speaking?
So it is also an important role, of course, because we are trying to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And we know that if we do achieve them, well, it could open 12 trillion of market opportunities worldwide, of course. But it is a very important figures for us. And in terms of jobs, it means 380 also million of jobs worldwide. So we believe that it's important to develop sustainable finance, of course. And if we take into consideration the actions on climate change, well, they would also result on saving about 26 trillion by 2030.
With sustainable finance, we mostly speak about potential because it's still the beginning of it. What examples of potential you have in mind?
There's a lot of potentials. First, maybe explain that I'm not just in charge of finance, but I'm also in charge of equality between men and women. And we know that in terms of sustainable development goals, well, the equality between women and men is also one of them. And if women had today in the world the same salary as men, well, global wealth, which is the least, I see that you agree. I'm quite happy about that. Well, global wealth could increase by 160 trillion. So that is, of course, an example of what the potential is. And we also have the barriers regarding girls, and the fact that if they were completing 12 years of education, well, it could represent for countries between 15 trillion and $30 trillion of lifetime productivity and earnings. So we see that this factor is very important. I also have more examples if you want them, but we can see that globally we have 1.4% of the total hours who are worked that they were lost in 1995 because of high heat level. You know that, of course, we have these heats that are coming up, and everyone cannot work in these high heats. And these losses, well, they are equivalent to around 35 million, full-time jobs worldwide. So we see quite a lot of examples of what could be done.
To tap into this potential, what do you think expertise Geneva has to offer?
So Geneva has a very big expertise to offer and plays a role which is very important. Firstly, International Geneva offered the major response to the ecological challenges, and this is the place where they are being developed, which is a very important point. And it is where we have to remember that it is where the first notion of sustainable development was born. If you remember, in 1987, the Brundtland report. So Geneva is, of course, and that we know it, it's the center of the implementation of the SDGs worldwide. And Geneva and Switzerland are pioneer in the sustainable investment. Okay. Impact, one more point, which I think is important, is that impact investment is born in Switzerland. And we know today there has been a change in the generations, and people, young, but also women, we have to insist on that, are really more willing to have an impact on their investments. And we know that the assets of women are growing and taking more importance also in the world. And women usually do not want to invest without knowing how and why. And this is where they are waiting for some impact.
And you as a minister and the state of Geneva as a government, what can you do to play a role and to support this growing trend of sustainable finance?
So we've been playing a role since quite a few years already. We were the first canton of Switzerland to invest in green bonds. Yeah. And we have around 600 millions which are invested today in green bonds. And maybe just one point, when we issued them, well, the bank with whom we were working issued them, in 1 hour everything was bought. So it was really a very big success. And last year we were the first canton to also issue social bonds. So I think it's we can see that this is the impact that we want to give. But what we can say today is that maybe the assets and the fortune is not sufficient when it's public, and we need to have more way to work with private sectors also to increase these assets.